and the political. Hers, therefore, is a story that is invariably intertwined with very real personal and political relationships, from relationships that aided in the elevation of her status and that of her own families on a wider political scale, to one in particular that threatened to destabilize her husband's authority and disrupt the precarious peace between a fragmented Wales and her mighty English neighbour. As the mother of at least 5 children, the wife of a husband who was the most powerful Welsh ruler of the Middle Ages, the daughter of a notoriously ruthless king, the sister of a much younger child king, and in her position as a royal Welsh consort, the breadth of her responsibilities, duties and concerns were tremendous indeed. Women of the upper echelons of medieval society, and especially royalty, often found themselves in untenable positions, as marriage was a political manoeuvre, a means of acquiring allies and attempts to establish peace. Love found in such alliances was believed to be a lucky bonus. As traditional weavers of peace, women were literally the gateways between two families who had to privately, and sometimes publicly, negotiate fidelities. Although once married, their expected loyalty was to that of their husbands and own family, it was the women of sheer strength who successfully endured, survived and operated within and around the expectations and demands placed upon them by both families. It is not far off the mark to claim that the majority of women were not just survivors of their circumstance, they were women of stamina. Joan had a penchant for diplomacy, given her impressive track record as a successful political envoy from 1211 onwards. Despite her fame and infamy, like the majority of women from her time, the fullness or breadth of her story languishes in the shadows of the feats, tragedies and majesties of the powerful men in her life, from her father and husband to brother, son and lover. But were Joan's own successes and failures simply dictated by those around her, as is often intimated in the pages of the history books in which she appears? Having survived the tumultuous early 13th century and the fraught grandstanding between a Wales ruled by a number of warring native princes and an England ruled by the devil's brood, Joan's accomplishments and disappointments were also related to her undertakings defined by her own character and personality. Although her intimate relationships afforded her opportunities to intervene in a highly contentious political realm, over the course of her life she forged an effective political career that seems to have been founded also in strength of character and intelligence. Without meaning to stumble deep into the caverns of outdated stereotypes, Joan also likely possessed an element of charm, even if it was learnt behaviour. After all, the royal consort in the Welsh court was expected to be the hostess with the mostest, hospitality being one of the more renowned and revered customs among the Welsh. These important traditions she would have been quickly educated in upon her arrival as a foreigner and newlywed in 1205. It was expected that she fulfil them for evermore, and to the best of her ability as the female face of Welsh leadership and authority. The reigning Lady of Wales would have been required to carry on conversation with visiting political emissaries, provide entertainment to guests, and be involved in public acts of gift-giving. Bestowing gifts to guests, in particular, was a time-honoured Welsh custom that was, in reality, an act of recognition of fealty. Charm, for lack of a better word, was something that her paternal family were often noted for, in amid their infamous and notorious fits of rage, although it is still unknown who her mother was, a mystery that may never be resolved. As a member of the Angevin dynasty, Joan surely possessed some, if not all, of the resolute determination, intelligence, and political acumen that defined the legacy of her female forebears from her paternal side, from her grandmother, the renowned and formidable Eleanor of Aquitaine, reigned 1154 to 1189, to her aunts Joanna, Queen of Sicily.